Well, guys, we did it. We broke the Pathfinder playtest. Turn it in. Everybody drive back to where you got your book. Send your PDF back up through the internet, back to Paizo. We did it. We found a way in this game to take the action economy and just kick it down the field. It's nuts, is what it is. My playtest group found it in our level 20 game, though certainly players can access it much faster. And if this spell doesn't get fixed between the playtest and Pathfinder 2nd Edition, well, my friends, we have found how to make optimized martial and magic parties. That's right. I'm talking about a spell that you may have seen over at Doomsday Dawn. It's on the Occult list. It is known as Possession. And today, we're going to talk about how dumb it is, because dumb it is, truly. And if you have anything you'd like to add on this one, because truthfully, as we've seen in a lot of the playtest, gray areas do exist down there. We will argue about this one till the cows come home, because, it's the gray areas that make it super scary. In any case, if you're liking what you're seeing, if you're itching for Paizo blogs, all of us are, subscribe, ding that bell. Today, this episode of your Pathfinder 2nd Edition preview content was brought to you in part by the other half of the squad that figured out how to break this thing wide open, John Conch. My friend, you are disgusting. Thank you for showing me that spell is as powerful as I thought it was when we did the Bard video. Now, let's hit it. Okay, so the spell in question, Possession, is a rare level 7 spell on the Occult list. That means your bards, your occult sorcerers will have their hands on this thing, assuming, they can find a rare spell. It requires 2 actions to cast. It's got a range of 30 feet. It targets one living creature. Its duration is concentration up to a minute. Casting this spell sends your mind and soul into the target's body, attempting to take control, and the target must attempt a will save. You can choose to take the effects of a lower degree of success if you prefer. That is to say, if they fail, you can choose it to be a success. If they fumble, it could be a failure. While you're possessing the target, your true body is unconscious and can't wake up normally. On a success, you basically have a ride-along. We are unaffected on a critical success. Failure allows you to possess the target and take partial control of it. Both you and the target spend actions using the target's body. On a critical failure, you possess the target and take total control. Only you can spend actions using the target's body, and the target can only watch as you manipulate it like a puppet. Heighten this bad boy to knife, and you can concentrate on it for up to 10 minutes, and if you wish, you can physically enter the creature's body, protecting your physical body. Okay, yeah, sure. That doesn't sound that particularly heinous, right? The secret reason that Possession is so good is because you can target your allies. And when you do this, though it's kind of a gamey technicality, it has existed forever and ever. Remember, you can voluntarily fail a save. Flavor-wise, a will save is you feel something gnawing at the back of your mind. You can choose to let that voice in the same way that something grabs onto you and you go for a ride. Don't resist. Now, whether this comes out to a failure or a fumble, the caster could, just choose it to be a failure. Then the caster, let's say a bard, is possessing the target, let's say the fighter. Both the bard and the fighter can spend actions using the fighter's body. Now, when we did this in Doomsday Dawn, I'll admit, I wasn't really thinking about it. I had 30 guys who were supposed to be firing against touch AC, and I forgot that they were. This spell requires concentration, which means you have to spend an action every round, you, the bard, to keep it up. That means the fighter, all quickness and hasty and things aside, now has 5 actions across 2 different points of the initiative. And that's where it gets dumb real fast. As we all know, action economy is how you win in tabletop role-playing games. That's why spells like Hold Person and Slow and stuff are still pretty good. They're losing actions. We have more actions than the bad guys do. We have more chances to critically succeed. The probability of us doing damage increases. Now, imagine, if you will, the fighter someone who is spec'd to be an engine of melee death suddenly can act 2 extra times in a round. Whether that's the fighter uses all of their actions to attack, and then the whatever is possessing said fighter steps back and raises a shield, so the fighter never has to consider, do I want to try that swing for the crit? Right, you don't got to worry about it. Or even farther, though there is kind of some hang here that I didn't realize when I was GMing it in terms of the multiple attack penalty. It's worded kind of weird, and I don't necessarily think we were thinking about this when the spell came out. But if the fighter goes to its lowest point on the fighter's turn in the multiple attack penalty, the question then becomes, does that penalty carry over to the bard using the fighter's body because it's the fighter's body doing the moving, or is it like having a dual core processor in a computer? God, that's really old now, isn't it? Though by that logic, the quad or 6-core processor could very well be made by just roll up a bunch of bards and jump in the fighter, and suddenly the fighter is a whirlwind of death. But the point is, somebody can kind of just like slip into unconsciousness as someone else takes over and hop, and you're swinging in with a bunch of swords and things. Also, one has to wonder, does the bard get to use the bard's reactions in the fighter's body? It's a little vague, I will give it that, but it is also incredibly powerful. To go even farther, let's say you're playing a bard. Let's say the bard jumped in, not even the fighter, the barbarian's body, the ranger's body, someone who does a lot of damage up close and personal. Bards can sub out material casting and somatic casting actions by playing an instrument. That includes, of course, singing. Nowhere in the occult spellcasting description for the bard does it say that the bard has to sing well, and if your body and soul are inside the fighter and you're able to perceive the world and act, it seems reasonable in the world of high-level magic that you can also cast out from it. Right? Fair? Maybe. I don't know. The fighter probably sang at a key, but if the fighter is getting soothed by the bard who looks like the fighter, while the fighter is going in and tearing things apart, then both bard and fighter use their reactions to block with a shield, or like quickly raise the shield and the fighter has an extra block with the shield from a class feat. It's really good. But what do you guys think? Is it fair to assume that we can do all this scary shenanigans with this spell? Let me know down in the comments, as always. We'll keep that conversation going. And thank you guys, as always, so much for watching. We wait with bated breath. We wait with bated breath for more of those Pathfinder vlogs. When they're out, we'll have them. See you then.